Hello and welcome to another episode of the Melton True Blue Podcast. This is episode 12. We're in a little bit of a different venue today. We are up on the terrace. September is here, fall is in the air. It's nice, it's 75 degrees outside, and so we thought we might as well switch it up and come outside. I'm here today with a very special guest. Auriel Drink. She's been with us for how long now?
4.5 years.
So when's 5 years?
February.
So we'll just round up. 5 years. Okay. All right. We definitely want to dive into that more here in a little bit. But before we do, I was talking to Auriel this morning, getting a cup of coffee, and you've had some really cool travels this past week and then an upcoming week, right?
Yeah. This year's been a travel year.
Okay.
So.
Tell us about it.
Last weekend, I was in Cancun. This coming up weekend, I'll be in the Bahamas, but I'm doing a cruise. Earlier this year was Greece, so.
Okay, so when did you go to Greece?
In May.
I didn't know that.
I did Yacht Week in Greece.
Okay, how was that? Was it amazing? Where'd you stay in Greece?
Well, we stayed on the yacht.
Did you go into the islands at all?
Yeah.
Which ones?
Poros, Hydra.
Did you go to Santorini or?
Athens.
Okay. Mykonos?
We didn't do Mykonos and Santorini.
Okay.
We did all historic small islands.
What do you think about Athens?
It's okay.
I've been to Athens.
It was okay.
Yeah.
It's not Santorini or
No.
Mykonos.
Yeah,
at
it's
all.
not. Yeah, it's very
nice.
different. It's very New York City-ish. It's very.
Food
Everyone's
was
on the
good though.
move. So Cancun this past weekend, and you're going to where this next weekend? Sorry.
Cruise to the Bahamas.
Cruise to the Bahamas. Have you been on a cruise before?
Yeah, this will be my third.
You like cruises?
No.
Okay. So why are you going?
Family.
Okay.
Spend time with my cousins.
Okay.
So.
I went on a woman cruise when I was younger. I was probably 16, 17. And I wasn't a huge fan of the cruises. I don't know. I just felt very. I can't sit still. You know me well enough. So on the cruise, I feel like
Yeah.
in a beach vacation, I don't do well just reading a book on the beach. It's just not for me. So.
Excursions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I need more of those. So, well, good. I'm glad you had a year of travel. It's always good to get out, and it sounds like you have some really cool trips planned out here in the next few weeks. So, congrats on that, and welcome back from Cancun.
Thanks.
Did you fly there?
Yes.
How was the air travel?
It wasn't bad.
Okay. No layovers, no missed flights.
No, I almost missed my flight there, but.
So I'll tell you a funny story, and we'll dive into the podcast. But so we talked about Greece. So my wife and I went to Greece on our honeymoon, and I guess it was. So we got married in 2020. So it would have been. This was 2022 because we had COVID, or 2021. So COVID year, we couldn't go to Greece because of COVID. But anyway, it was Bedlam. So it was OU versus OSU the day we were flying out. So I'm on my phone watching Bedlam, right, and not really listening for the gates or when to call. Okay, and we missed our flight to Athens. This is a true story. So obviously, rough start to the vacation, right? So my wife's crying, I'm trying to stay calm and not freak out, and we go up to the airline customer service person, and my wife's in tears, because we had missed the flight. The flight was already bought, so if we missed the flight, we couldn't get it back or something like that, because they gave us a refund for COVID because we had bought it before.
Oh, okay.
And so we go to them and we're like, we missed our flight to Athens. We need to get to Athens. And she's like, oh, no problem. We can get you to Athens here in the next few hours. And we're like, oh, perfect, thank God, And she's like, yeah, we have flights going in and out of Georgia all the time. And I was like, no, Athens, Greece, not Georgia, Athens, Greece. But luckily, the customer service person was amazing. It was American Airlines, and we had to reroute to, I think, Charlotte, and then Charlotte had a flight going out to Athens that same day. So it all worked out great. But anyway, I thought
you were going to Athens, Georgia.
Yeah, so we almost went to Athens, Georgia instead of Athens, Greece, which was pretty funny. But anyway, that's my funny travel story. But let's dive into some Melton talk here. So you said 5 years with the company. How'd you hear about Melton? I know a little bit about your backstory, but these folks don't. So how'd you hear about us?
Well, I actually always wanted to be in transportation. So when I graduated college, I actually moved to Nashville, but I was interviewing for another company's transportation position. And when I moved back to Tulsa, I researched transportation companies, and Melton, of course, came up as one of the top places to work in transportation in Oklahoma. So I tried multiple times to work for Melton, but then I ended up somewhere else, and it popped back up, and it worked out for me. Later on, maybe about 4 years later.
So you said your dream was to be in transportation?
I don't know about my dream.
Or that was like
but
your
I
goal?
always wanted to be in
Why did you always want to be in transportation? Like, I feel like it's not like a common thing for someone to really want to be into.
Because it's an essential job.
Okay. So like, from what age did you know you wanted to be in transportation?
It
like
really
college?
started when I was in college.
Okay. I was like, you're not like 9 years old being like, okay.
I mean, I went to college in Arkansas. In Arkansas, there's a lot of big companies there.
Yeah.
So there was always transportation companies that always came and spoke to our business program.
Okay.
So, I mean, transportation makes the world go round.
Yeah, it is.
So.
It does. And it's really cool to see it firsthand, right? Especially in your role, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But, when you see these things happening, when you see it in real time, and it also makes you appreciate things and how they get to where they go, right? Because we know the background behind it. So I agree with you. It's totally essential and almost patriotic in a little bit of a way, just making the world go around. You said you went to college in Arkansas. So where did you attend university at?
The University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff.
At Pine Bluff. How far away is that from just University of Arkansas? How far is that from Fayetteville?
About 3 hours.
Okay, so pretty far out. And what was your major in?
Business marketing.
Business marketing. Okay. And did you go to high school here in Oklahoma?
Yeah, I went to Edison.
Edison. Okay, so what brought you out to Arkansas?
A boy.
Okay, sorry to bring that up on the podcast.
That didn't work out.
That didn't work out. Okay, well, hey, if he's listening now, look where you're at now.
Right?
We made it, right? So we're glad to have you here in Oklahoma. But I love the Arkansas area. I think the town and like the landscape of Arkansas is really beautiful. The hills. There's a lot of really cool stuff in Arkansas. I grew up going to Fort Smith a lot, and we do career fairs in Arkansas. We go to Fayetteville a lot. Fayette Chill is what the kids call it these days. And what's the main street on Fayetteville?
I have no idea.
No?
Mm-mm.
What's like the party street on Fayetteville?
I have no idea.
You never went to Fayetteville while you were in college?
No, everybody came to us.
Everyone came to you. Okay.
Yeah.
Everyone came to Pine Bluff?
Yeah.
No way. That's not true.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you graduated college. Did you do any internships or anything like that, or did you go straight to your first job?
I did do an internship in Pontiac, Michigan for a legislative marketing position for a summer.
Michigan. Okay. All right. And then so we got done with the internship, and then we went to Coca-Cola?
Well, I finished the internship, went back for my last year, my senior year, and then actually moved to Nashville when I graduated college.
Yeah.
And worked for a company called Auriel. And they're the insurance company for cell phones.
Okay.
So I worked there for a year and then moved back to Oklahoma and worked at Coca-Cola.
Yeah, so you got your feet wet in transportation at Coca-Cola, right? And you were a dispatch?
Yep, customer scheduling dispatch.
Okay, so a little bit of a TAM job and a DM job in one.
It was like a TAM, DM, and a little bit of sales. It's kind of all in one.
Okay, and you're like booking your technicians, right? You're not really...
Yeah, so anyone who had like a fountain machine, a vending machine, a cooler, we would go out and service them anytime they had an issue or something went wrong or a new installation. We would plan that on our drivers.
And what territory did you have? What area were you working?
The West Coast.
The West Coast. Okay. So you were working with the techs that lived in the West Coast.
Yeah.
What's that like working in West Coast time? Is it just everything needs to happen all at once, or?
No, it was very chill.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So even California area?
Yeah, everyone was very chill unless it was like a
emergency.
Emergency or like a top priority account, which that would be like your McDonald's,
Sure.
your Burger Kings, but typically most places have more than one fountain, so they'd be okay for a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, because you have a backup fountain.
Yeah.
Speaking of Coca-Cola, the machines. What are the new ones called that have like all the different flavors in it?
The freestyle.
The freestyle. When those first came out, mind blowing. I just thought those were so cool, and I didn't know how they worked. I was like, how do you have this many drinks in one machine? And I still get overwhelmed when I go to one. And I'm not a big soda drinker. I'm usually a water person. But like when they have the freestyle machine, I'm like, well, I'm gonna try just like a little bit of everything because it has every flavor in the world on those things. So you can get Powerade, you can get Sprite, you can get Coke, you can get
my favorite freestyle flavor got bottled.
Oh, no.
Not by my choice, but
what was it?
Which was the orange cream Coca-Cola.
The orange cream Coke. Oh yeah, I've tried that one before. I usually do that mixed with vanilla.
So I'm waiting on a cherry vanilla Coke with lime.
Ooh, okay. I've never tried the lime feature.
Yeah.
See, I was going to go to the nearest freestyle machine. I don't know where the nearest freestyle machine is. They have them in a lot of places though.
They do.
And I trust the places that have the freestyle machine. I'm like, oh, this is a good company. They like the freestyle machine's good.
After, my job, I don't trust any fountain machine. I'm sorry.
You've seen the ins and outs of the fountain machine. Okay, so you stick to the bottles.
I try to stay away from fountain machines and vending machines.
All right, this is good to know, though. This is really good to know. Now I know. Now I'm going to be terrified and not, use a fountain.
Although I will say the freestyle is probably one of the better machines to drink out of.
Okay, that's good to know. All right,
because they're cartridges and not syrup boxes.
Okay. See, I'm glad we have you on the podcast. This is good to know. If we don't get any other
let the
information
drivers
out,
know.
Yeah, if we
stay away from the fountain machine.
If we don't get any other information out of you, like we got this. This is what we needed to hear on the Melton True Blue podcast.
Drink water.
Yeah. So you come from Coca-Cola. You come to Melton. Where did you start? Where did you start at Melton?
As an inside sales rep.
As an inside sales rep. Yeah. And what are you now?
The inside sales coordinator.
Okay, coordinator. So moving up a little bit.
So I had 2 territories as an inside sales rep.
What territories did you have?
I started in the West Coast.
Okay, you can't get away from the West Coast.
So I started in the West.
Yeah.
And then I essentially piloted the Mid-Atlantic territory when we decided to make that a territory. I moved over there to kind of start that off to obviously make sure it's profitable and make sure it's worth being, a territory on its own. And then inside sales coordinator.
Okay, and so tell me let's back up to ISR. Just kind of give me a quick snapshot of what an ISR for Melton Truck Lines does.
Everything.
Okay, that's a great answer. Love that.
They're gonna be your customer facing rep. So anyone who does not have a contract, even some that do have contracts, they're going to be your go-to person for rates, for any updates, any future loads, any future projects. I mean, you name it. We're the first stop before they decide whether they want to go to a contracted account or whether they see Melton a good fit for them. So we're kind of like that.
So you're quoting, you're pricing, and you're really, we call it cradle to grave. You're starting from the very beginning and then all the way until the shipment's finished. That's kind of your project, your baby.
Start to finish, and sometimes we start with a customer who has never shipped with us before, or we bring on customers that maybe shipped with us 15 years ago, or who might get that phone call that they passed one of our drivers and aren't interested. So we kind of get any and everything, all the phone calls from anywhere, emails from the website who are interested. So we're weeding through those to see if they're a good fit, getting them set up, shipping their first load, shipping even hundreds of loads if they see us fit or if they have that much business.
Yeah, and then trying to, convert those customers into contracted customers is the goal. But a lot of times they may stay in the spot market.
Yeah, we have some customers that stay in the spot market for years.
Which is fine.
They'd rather do that, and it works best for them.
Sure, yeah.
And sometimes it works best for us.
I think it's what it comes down to is what's best for the customer. I think, Melton, the business we are is we know that our customers come first, right? Obviously our drivers that are customers, but we want to do what's best for them. And so, I think the ISR team and the inside sales team does a really nice job of being that customer service, but also the sales face of Melton Truck Lines, and doing a little bit of both. I think you wear a lot of hats, especially, like you said, moving the shipment from point A from the very beginning all the way to point B at the very end until it delivers, and then keeping in contact with that customer and really building a rapport.
Yeah.
How many of these customers do you know almost on a personal level? Like, are you talking about, like personal stuff with them?
I try to be like that with all of my customers. So a lot of them, know about my vacations, know what I have coming up. I know some of them have kids and the sports they're in.
Yep.
And if I talk to them the weekend before they have a game, I'm checking in the next week asking, how was the game?
Right.
How did they do? So
yeah, and it's the beauty of it, right? It's not just a transaction, between Melton and customer. It really feels more than that, right? At the end of the day, are we moving their freight? Yes. But are we also building rapport and almost making a friend or treating them like they're an employee or a family of ours? Like, yeah, that's what we do, right? And that's kind of the Melton way, is to treat everyone the right way, whether you're the biggest customer in the lake or the smallest customer in the pond, right? You're going to be treated the same way, with fairness and value, integrity. So your team does a really good job at that. So you moved to the inside sales coordinator role. Just tell me a little bit of a difference. I know it's a little bit of a promotion for you, so congratulations on that.
Thanks.
But kind of tell me the differences of what you're doing now versus then.
So now I would say I essentially have the entire U.S.
Okay.
So anytime anyone on our team is out, I'm stepping in. So I have to stay knowledgeable on absolutely every territory, every account, just kind of knowing everything. And working on special projects, something that may take, additional time or more eyes or more attention. I take on those projects, trying to bring on new accounts, just like the regional sales managers, just want to bring on profitable, good accounts that, are going to keep the wheels turning, be good customers for our drivers, or if we have any, accounts that may be failing or accounts that we may just, need extra eyes on, I'll take on that account until we can get it back to another rep. But other than that, just...
Yeah, and so our regional sales managers, for those who don't know, they're out in the field, right? So they're out in the states, visiting customers, going, business to business. How much are you working with the RSMs?
Essentially, all of us should be working with our RSMs daily and talking to them daily. Because once they find an account out there, if they're going to move on to the next account or go to the next door, they want someone to touch base, follow up with them, make sure, we're getting our feet on the ground and not getting forgotten. So typically we're communicating with the regional sales managers on a day-to-day basis to make sure we're all on the same page with all of our customers.
Yeah, I think it's really good to have that communication between the two teams too. Yeah, I think a lot of companies have their folks who are out in the field and the people who are in the office, and there's a lot of miscommunication there between those two, just because there's so much distance between the two. And I think with our communication, our style, working with a regional sales manager, someone out in the field, and then your team with inside sales, we almost do that simpatico. We work hand in hand together, and it makes everyone's life a whole lot easier when you do that.
Yeah.
Right? If you don't have that communication between the RSM, things can get missed, and we try not to do that as best as we can.
Yeah, I think that works good just with Melton in general, with all the departments. So you have your inside sales reps who are, working directly with the customers and quoting and giving spot rates, and the TAMs planning and working with contracted customers, and then the driver managers working specifically with the drivers. It allows everyone to focus solely on their part of the puzzle. So
yeah, absolutely, and that's the best way to put it is a puzzle. This whole thing is just a giant puzzle. It's all it is, and we all have our pieces that we have to put together for the puzzle to be complete. And then I always use the example, especially in your world, in operations, you almost get done with this puzzle at the end of the day, and then at night someone comes and scrambles it up, and then you put the puzzle all back together the next day.
Every day.
Right? But that keeps it fun too. I've always said I wouldn't enjoy a job where it's just the same thing every day. And I feel with our jobs, it's so much different. There's a new challenge. There's a variety, just different flavors, of Melton that I enjoy. It's a new puzzle every time, and I like that part of it. So. As far as Melton as a company, I know we talked about your role and your job. What do you love about being here? 5 years here, that says a lot about you, but also says a lot about Melton. What keeps you here? What keeps you coming back?
Every day is different.
Yeah.
Every day is a challenge. Every day you're learning something. Every day you're encountering, a new scenario. So nothing is the same. And I like a challenge, so that's what keeps me coming every day. That's what keeps me working every day. It's like a Sudoku, a puzzle.
Yeah.
Every
Rubik's
day
Cube.
just, it keeps your brain going. So that's something that I enjoy about the job and about Melton as a company is there's always changes, there's always something new, there's always, a new event or, getting to know new employees or coming in and seeing different drivers. So every day is different.
Yeah, it truly is, and that's the beauty of it. And, for me, I always say it's the people here, right? And I know you got a lot of great friends here. I see you in the gym quite a bit with some of your friends from work, and that's a big thing for me too, right? Coming in and enjoying not just the job, but the people that are surrounding me, right? If you have the best job in the world, but you're surrounded by, bad people, well, that job doesn't become that great, right? And so, I think we're blessed to have a great job and be around great people, and it really just makes the day. I never dread coming to work. It's always just a good day. I always have fun. There's hard days, absolutely. When you're surrounded by good people, you get through those hard days. So I definitely like that too. All right, so just some closing thoughts from you. We talked about how much you enjoy Melton, your job. Would you recommend Melton to a friend?
Yeah, I definitely would. I've recommended a few.
You have?
They're here with us. And have been here for over 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah,
so.
I'm trying to rack through my head of some of your referrals, but I love employee referrals. I think they go such a long way, and I think Melton really, prides themselves on the employees that we have in the building, and great people tend to know great people, right? And so it works out really well. Well, fantastic, Auriel. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. We really appreciate you being on. Have a blast on your trip coming up soon. I'm jealous.
I will.
Yeah. And thanks for being on the Melton True Blue podcast. And everyone, thanks for listening. If you are interested in being on the Melton True Blue podcast, please reach out to me. And thank you for listening.